Luna Lovegood is one of the most fascinating characters in Harry Potter. What makes her stand out even more is how perfectly the actress captured her essence, just as she was described in the books. She's kind, brave, and unique, with an eccentric charm that sets her apart. Probably the strangest character in the entire series. She spoke at odd moments, believed in things others dismissed as nonsense, wore bizarre outfits, and had a peculiar way of talking. But why was she so unusual? What lay behind her dreamy kindness? Luna's past holds secrets that shaped her in ways few realize. Luna was a proud Ravenclaw, which meant she was highly intelligent. Some even argue she would have fit in Gryffindor given her bravery. A year younger than Harry, she met him, Ron, and Hermione only in her 4th year. At first, her classmates mocked her for her odd appearance, strange speech, and distant demeanor. But as the battle against Voldemort unfolded, Luna proved her courage and brilliance, earning everyone's respect. She fought Death Eaters, hunted Horcruxes, and stood with Dumbledore's army against the Dark Lord. After the war, she married and became a renowned magizoologist, traveling the world to study magical creatures and discovering entirely new species. Her unusual nature was deeply rooted in her past. Luna's parents, Xenophilius and Pandora Lovegood, were anything but ordinary. Her mother, a gifted witch, loved experimenting with spells. But one of her experiments went horribly wrong. She died right before 9-year-old Luna's eyes. This tragedy left a mark on the little girl. She withdrew into herself, finding solace in fantasy and the unseen. Her father, equally eccentric, adored her. After losing his wife, he poured all his love into Luna, shielding her from reality with whimsical stories and magical ideas. He raised her in a world where the impossible seemed possible, where creatures others dismissed as myths were real. Luna's oddities had clear reasons. Her unique fashion sense mirrored her father's. Her detachment came from being raised in a bubble of imagination, a way to escape the grief of losing her mother. The quiet sadness beneath her dreamy exterior was a wound from childhood that never fully healed. But despite, or maybe because of, her quirks, Luna is one of the most beloved characters. She carried pain, yet remained strong, kind, and compassionate, not just to people, but to all living beings. What do you think of Luna Lovegood? Luna Lovegood was never like anyone else, and she never wanted to be. While most students at Hogwarts clung to their houses and friend groups, Luna drifted through the halls like a ghost of her own world. She wasn't lonely, not in the way others assumed. She simply saw things differently. When others whispered behind her back, she smiled. Not because she didn't understand. She did. She just didn't mind. Her dorm mates in Ravenclaw were the first to notice she wasn't like them. While they spent their time analyzing spells and debating logic, Luna stared out the window, watching the stars shift. She doodled strange creatures in the margins of her parchment and hummed tunes no one else knew. Some thought she was odd, others thought she was brilliant, a few thought she was both. But Luna never tried to convince anyone of anything. When she told her classmates about Nargles hiding in the mistletoe, they laughed. When she spoke of the lost city of crumple-horned Snorkax, they rolled their eyes. When she wore a lion's head to support Gryffindor at Quidditch matches, they scoffed. But none of that mattered. Luna saw magic where others didn't bother to look. A different kind of friendship. Meeting Harry, Ron, and Hermione changed her life, but not in the way it changed theirs. For the first time, Luna had people who didn't just tolerate her quirks, they accepted them. Harry, in particular, understood her in a way others didn't. He had seen things others refused to believe. He had suffered losses too great to explain. He had walked through Hogwarts as an outsider, just like her. One night, long after curfew, They sat together in the dark halls of the castle. The only light came from the enchanted ceiling above them, painted with thousands of stars.
"You can see them too, can't you?" Luna said softly, nodding toward the skeletal, bat-winged creatures pulling the carriages. "Thestrals?"
Harry nodded. "It means you've seen death," she said, not with sadness, but with a quiet understanding. "Not many people have." Harry didn't reply right away. He was still learning how to talk about things no one else understood.
But Luna understood.
"Do you ever think," she continued, "that people are afraid of what they can't see?" Harry looked at her. She wasn't speaking just about Thestrals.
Maybe that's why people didn't like Luna. She saw things they refused to see. Deepwash, the war and what came after.
When the battle for Hogwarts finally arrived, Luna was there. She didn't cower, didn't run. She fought. Some underestimated her. They mistook her dreamy nature for weakness. But Luna was fierce, not with rage or revenge, but with an unshakable belief that light could still exist in the darkest places. She stood beside Neville, casting spells with effortless precision. She dueled Death Eaters twice her size. She whispered words of encouragement to frightened students and fought harder than anyone expected. But Luna never lost herself in the war. She didn't let it harden her. And when it was over, when Voldemort was nothing more than dust in the wind, Luna did something unexpected. She left, not because she didn't care, but because the world was too big to stay in one place. Weebless kept in a life beyond Hogwarts. While others rebuilt their lives in familiar places, Luna chased the unknown. She travelled deep into forgotten forests and across mist-covered mountains. She sailed to islands where the stars looked different and the air smelled like salt and magic. Some say she spent years searching for the crumple-horned Snorkack. Others say she found creatures no one had ever named. She wrote letters to Ginny, Neville, and even Hermione, describing animals so strange they could only be real. But she never wrote about her own life. Not about the quiet nights alone under foreign skies. Not about the way the world whispered secrets to her in languages she didn't speak. Not about how, even after all these years, she still sometimes felt like a ghost wandering through a world that didn't quite understand her. Arit, love in the most unexpected place. Then one day Luna met someone who understood. Rolf Scamander, grandson of Newt Scamander, had spent his life chasing magical creatures too. But unlike the scholars who dismissed Luna's theories, Rolf listened. He didn't laugh when she spoke of Nargles. He didn't roll his eyes when she described the way certain creatures only appeared when no one was looking. Instead, he asked questions. They traveled together, mapping the unseen corners of the world. They found creatures no one believed in. They named them, studied them, and set them free. And somewhere between the tangled jungles and endless seas, Luna realized she had found something rare. Someone who saw her the way she saw the world, not as something odd, but as something extraordinary. Wata, the woman she became.
Luna Lovegood never stopped being Luna Lovegood.
She never tried to fit into the world. Instead, she let the world make space for her. Years later, when she finally returned to England, people barely recognized her. She still wore odd earrings and bright colors. She still spoke in that dreamy, faraway voice. She still believed in things no one else did. But there was something different now. She carried herself with quiet confidence. Not the kind that demanded attention, but the kind that needed no validation. She had seen too much, traveled too far, and learned too many secrets of the universe to care what anyone thought.
Luna Lovegood had become something more than just the strange girl from Ravenclaw.
She had become a legend in her own right. Answer the final mystery. People often asked Luna what she believed in most. Some expected her to say Nargles, others thought she'd speak of the creatures she had found. But Luna always smiled, tilting her head as if she were listening to something just beyond the edge of reality. I believe, she would say softly, that there's more magic in this world than we will ever understand. And for those who listened closely, who really listened, they understood what she meant.
She wasn't just talking about magic.
She was talking about wonder, about curiosity, about the beauty of seeing the world through different eyes. Because Luna Lovegood had always known something most people spent their whole lives trying to learn.
Magic isn't just in spells and potions.
Magic is in the way you choose to see the world.